Hi everyone, Wolf Branch Homestead here, out with the remainder, the last little bits of the lyre leaf sage as the blooming finishes and it goes to seed. And we're down here by the barn where our black vultures have been raising two little ones, and they're getting so big now. They're starting to slowly get their feathers on, and they've gotten so big. And the parents haven't been coming around as often as they get bigger. They seem like they're not feeding as frequently, but they are still coming around a lot. And today we managed to get some really cool video. We've got a bunch of background noise, apologies here. But I wanted to make an introduction to this video to kind of tell you some of the things you're going to see. You're going to get a chance to see black vultures in a totally different light. See some behavior and antics that maybe you've never even seen before or knew about. You know, a lot of us, I think, especially myself, we've kind of grown up with seeing vultures, or what a lot of people here call buzzards, even though they're technically vultures. We kind of grew up seeing them and thinking, oh, that's the bird that eats dead things. That's gross. They're bad omens. And we see them on the side of the road eating things that have been hit, or finding carcasses out in the woods, something like that. And people just don't think well of them. But you know, even though I grew up kind of thinking the same thing, thinking, oh, they're dirty, seeing them as a bad sign, my opinion has changed in the past year especially. Last year we noticed this black vulture pair hanging around, and they were really shy at first, but they kind of got accustomed to seeing us outside, out and about, and we'd see them down on top of the barn sunning themselves, or up in the trees down here in the same area. And we got used to seeing one another. They would see us. There goes the barred owl. About this time they start to carry on with one another. But we got so used to seeing each other, the vultures and ourselves, and it was really neat to be able to just sit right here and watch them up in the trees. And it has evolved so much in the past year since then, from just feeling really honored to be able to sit here and watch them and kind of visit with them for a bit, to now getting longer visits. And that's what I wanted to introduce today, because I'm hoping that seeing this, seeing them closer, seeing some of this behavior might change your opinion, your view of them, or maybe you'll learn something more about them, their behavior, want to learn more about the birds themselves. They came to visit earlier today, about 30 minutes before all of these videos. They came down to visit and tend their little ones. We were out in the yard and saw them come up, and they landed up here in the trees and then swooped down to go tend the little ones. But then they came up the hill and walked and came into the front yard, and I saw them up by the crepe myrtle tree, and I thought, you know, they're just kind of standing out here, and there's a lot of shade, so I'm going to go sit out in the yard with them and see if they'll walk over in the shade too, just for a little bit. I really didn't have high expectations for what was going to happen. And you know, I sat out there in the grass and they walked down the hill together, and they went over in the shade. You know, they were a decent ways away from me, but still close enough that we were right there. You know, I'll have to try to get a measurement. I'll have to step out how far it was from where I was sitting at. But they walked down the hill together. One went down first and the other came behind them. And they stood in the shade for a while. And I decided, you know, this is a nice little place. I'm going to lay over on my side and pretend like I'm having a nap and see what they do. And wouldn't you know, right after I did that, and you'll see it in the video, one of them decides to just lay down on the ground. And I never thought about them doing that. I'm so used to seeing them flying around or perched in the trees. I didn't think about them just ever laying down on the ground like this. And the other one was kind of standing guard and watching over the other one, but you see it eventually lay down too. And one of the coolest things I think that's in this video, not just them laying down or being close by, preening themselves, but you actually get to see how sweet they are to one another, because this is a pair. This is a mom and a dad that have raised two little hatchlings. They're still in the barn. They haven't got close to fledging yet. They don't have all their feathers. But this is a couple. This is a pair. And you actually get to see them just love on each other in this. When one comes down the hill to meet the other one, and they're just rubbing their heads all together. They're mutually grooming one another, preening one another, laying right there together, and it's just the sweetest thing. And I know that might sound crazy to say, but just give it a chance. Just watch what they do. And also, if you're familiar with backyard poultry, you've raised chickens, you've raised turkeys, something like that, watch some of their behavior in this and watch how they act. See how they turn their head to the sky and watch what's going on. Watch them preen themselves. My phone unfortunately died, so I couldn't get the rest of it on video, but they would do, when they got back up, the leg stretch. They'd stretch their wing out and stretch their leg behind their back. They would also go out. Eventually, we actually sat there together, kind of pretending I was taking a nap out there with them for about an hour. And then one of them got up, the other stood up, and the one that got up first walked down the hill into the sunshine, spread its wings out, and was just getting some sun on those feathers. And I wish I could have got more of the behavior on video, but we have quite a bit here on the channel where we've just really been showing them some appreciation recently as they come to visit. And just hoping that sharing these clips, I know I've kind of rambled introducing this, but hoping that sharing these clips will help bring some appreciation to them. I know they get a lot of hate for how they survive by cleaning up waste. If you think about it a little bit harder, they have such an important job, and they help keep things clean while also surviving off of that, feeding their young, feeding themselves. And I hope that this gives them a little bit better reputation, and that somebody really enjoys seeing some of this behavior up close. Again, just a real treat for a total of about 2 hours. Just took some time to slow down, enjoy nature, and really soak it in, because I don't know that if I'll ever get a chance like that again to just sit out there and watch them lay down in the yard. And it was just a really cool moment, and hope that you all enjoy it too. Thanks for watching with us. not both of them, but one of them came back an hour later and came down the yard where I was laying at earlier, and then jumped up on the roof when I walked back up here. So I came to the same spot in the yard to lay down and see if it wants to just hang out up here, or if it might even hop back down in the grass and lay down. I'm not sure. But this was pretty neat that I turned around and looked while the goats were out playing and browsing around, and one of the meats was right here in this spot. I'm not sure which, because they do look so similar. I'm not sure. I think this might be the shy one. What are you doing, meat? So here we are about an hour after the last video. Our friend flew off for a little bit and came back. Your open beak, you must be a little bit hot. It is kind of warm and humid today. But they're probably getting ready to do one more feeding of their little ones before bed. And then they go, or maybe you got too much. Did you get too much in your mouth eating something? But they've got a spot way up in the trees. Looks like some hardwood trees back by the branch. And that's usually where they sleep at. We noticed that before we even knew they had little ones. But probably getting ready for bed anytime now. So it's our last visit of the day. We hope you all enjoyed getting a little glimpse into some of the really neat moments with our black vulture friends, and we look forward to sharing more. And hope you all can have a little more appreciation and enjoyment for them too. Until the next video or live stream, take care, everyone.